Welcome to the Breeders' Cup 2015 Saturday Card Preview, Part 2, presented by Horse Racing Station. In this second part of our Saturday Card Preview, we'll be going over the next three races, the Filly and Mare Turf, the Sprint, and the Mile. First off, the fourth Breeders' Cup race of Saturday is the Filly and Mare Turf. Currently a field of 12 going, with one also eligible still in. Electrum decided not to ship to Kentucky. The morning line favorite is shipper from Europe, Legatissimo. Legatissimo, a very valiant winner of the Coolmore Fastnet Rock Matrone Stakes last time out at Leopardstown, as well as winner of the National Stakes at Goodwood back in August. Another key contender from overseas for Andre Fabre is Miss France. Miss France was second in the Qatar Prix Daniel Wildenstein, a Group 2 race at Longchamp last time out as the favorite. Has yet to get a win since last year's Quidco 1000 Guineas, but will get Frankie Dettori aboard. To the outside, Secret Gesture, originally shipped overseas from overseas for the Beverly D, was disqualified, placed second. Back when Jamie Spencer was the jockey, now getting Florent Geroux in second. U.S. start should get a little bit of a plus. As for the U.S. runners, Stephanie's Kitten for Chad Brown will be near the outside. Chad Brown also has Dacita and What's the Chances. Doug O'Neill has Longshot Charlotte Ray, and of course Kieran McLaughlin sends out a very impressive filly Centurio Italia, joining the two post. First off, we're going to talk about the morning line favorite Legatissimo. Very impressive overseas. Last out win was just far and away one of her best. Definitely need to focus on her win at a mile and a quarter at Goodwood in the National Stakes. Was able to beat Arabian Queen by 4 3/4 lengths. Arabian Queen would go on next race to beat Arc winner Golden Horn. Legatissimo has a few blemishes on her record in the Oaks and the Pretty Polly Stakes, but just 2 nose defeats. Should have been undefeated. Should have actually had probably 5 straight Group 1 wins. Far and away one of the better horses in this field. Gets Ryan Moore back after an injury to Ryan Moore. She's also trying Lasix for the first time and wasn't identified in the Equibase charts, but was shown up in the Daily Racing Form charts that she is getting Lasix for the first time. This 3-year-old, she'll appreciate this return to a little bit distance. Last time she was at a mile on a soft ground. She's going to go now up to a mile and 3/16 on a firm, or at least a good to firm ground. That good to firm ground was what she encountered at the Nassau Stakes at Goodwood. Definitely a prime contender here. Very tough to get past her. My one concern is that she is trained by David Watchman. Yes, he shipped 2 horses over and he's won one, but he is not the most accomplished of trainers over in Europe. But again, running for Michael Tabor, John Magnier, and Eric Smith, hard to go wrong. Impressive pedigree this 3-year-old has. I'm going to use her definitely, even though probably going to be around even money when post time happens. Also looking at Dacita shipping in from Chile in August. A very impressive Ballston Spa win in 1:39.67. A win over Tepin, who is a prime contender in the Breeders' Cup Mile. She'll be much better with that extra 1/8 of a mile, and she'll like this layoff. This is would be her second start this year. I'm definitely going to use Dacita. I think Chad Brown is going to have this horse in the right direction. Now, really having almost a year with this horse, about 10 months of training. I'm definitely a prime contender. My one concern with Dacita is the layoff. I think she'll be fine. She is stepping up in class. The Ballston Spa, while competitive, It is nowhere near the international cast that she will be facing, but she has been training pretty well at Belmont. I think she will be a very prime contender here, and someone you should use in your tickets. Probably not as good as Legatissimo, but definitely with the right closing trip could sneak in and win this race. Another Euro shipping over is Miss France. Was the beaten favorite in the last 2 races at Longchamp. She was beaten in the Sun Chariot last year to Integral, a very, very good horse. Although she is looking for her first win of the season, Miss France for Andre Fabre is truly coming into form. Huge improvement in her last race in the Daniel Weidenstein compared to the Prix de la Cocher. In just 1 month, a huge difference. I believe that she'll increase with the distance. So definitely a prime contender here. Her pedigree definitely shows that she'll be able to get the distance. Danehill on the sire side, Tyrell on the dam side. Definitely worth a play. It's going to be her 3rd race off this long layoff. I think the first 2 were really used as preps, and she was very close to beating Esoterique last year in the Prix Rothschild race at Deauville. I'm going to use her. She does get Frankie Dettori back. Frankie Dettori was there 2 starts back. She only lost by a neck. Just got nipped at the wire. I'm going to hope that she returns to her Quipco 1000 Guineas form. It's going to be tough, but Andre Fabre knows how to train horses to the Breeders' Cup. I think she's worth a play. And one of the stronger Euros in this race. So my horses I'm using are Legatissimo, Miss France, Dacita, and I'm going to use Secret Gesture. I think now getting Florence Geroux is going to help. She's going to be fine with the outside post. And even last year in the Philly Mare Turf, she broke well. She just didn't take to the Santa Anita course, and she had a European-based jockey. I think now getting an American-based jockey, Florence Geroux, who is lights out on the turf. Secret Gesture is definitely a live play. Is it a step up from Beverly D? Definitely. But a lot of those horses in the Beverly D are coming into this field. I think Secret Gesture is definitely a play. Is she better than the Europeans that are shipping in for the first time? I don't think so. But she is definitely a horse to look after. And could go toe-to-toe with Legatissimo late. Next up is the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And that is headlined by the monster sprinter Run Happy. This field will be going 6 furlongs on the dirt here at Keeneland. Run Happy is the morning line favorite 3-1. Edgar Prado aboard. Other big favorites is Private Zone at 5-2. Private Zone is your morning line favorite. Run Happy at 3-1. Private Zone at 5-2. Private Zone coming out of the 13 post for Martin Pedrosa, with Martin Pedrosa aboard. Big Mockers in this race at a huge price, 20-1. Should definitely go down by post time. Masochistics, the great sprinter from California. The Midwest sprinter Ivan Falanavala. Calvin Burrell, 30-1 long shot, but does have a chance. Gary Stevens, Peter Urton team up with Kobe's back at 15-1. A lot of prices on very, very good sprinters. 10-1 on Wild Dude, Jerry Hollendorf and Rafael Bejarano. Another horse that you definitely should include in your tickets. But when I looked at this field, I saw a lot of horses that I can eliminate right off the bat. I eliminated Alsvid, eliminated Limousine Liberal. I eliminated Holy Boss, Saludos Amigos, Barbados. Both of those eliminated. I did not care for Favorite Tail. And then Gentleman's Bet, who currently would not be in the race. I believe Ron Moquette scratched that horse earlier this week. But my first horse I'm going to talk about is Run Happy, an incredibly fast early runner. Won last time out at Keeneland over the very sloppy course in the Phoenix Stakes, running at this distance. A win at 7 furlongs in the King's Bishop, a very impressive win. But Run Happy has not beaten the best of sprinters. I don't believe that the East Coast sprinters are really comparative to the West Coast sprinters and to the Midwest sprinters. So I'm not going to use Run Happy on top. Excuse me. Run Happy also starts off slow. Many of his races he misses the break. That is a big negative in this race. You look last year, the Breeders' Cup Sprint, Big Mocker got off slow and had no chance. Private Zone in this race last year as well got off slow and was barely able to finish up for third. Even the best of sprinters cannot recover from a missed break in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. I am not going to use Run Happy unless he can break well. Is he working out well? Yes. It's very strong workouts. But I don't think he's going to break well. I'm not going to use him as my top choice, or even in my top 3. He is completely out of the trifecta. Do I think he'll finish maybe in 4th? Yes. I will be using him on a more expansive pick 6 ticket, because if he does break well, he will romp in this race. But I don't think he's going to break well. He hasn't been able to break well in any of his starts. The only time he's ever actually had a good break was in the Lecomte, but that race was 1 mile and 70 yards. Completely different than how this race is going to be. So I'm not going to use Run Happy here. Next horse is Ivan Fallen Avalot. Definitely a step below this field in terms of who he's been facing, but was a pretty good second in his only try in Graded Stakes Company. That was the Count Fleet Stakes at Oaklawn Park earlier this year. Just got caught by Alsvid at the wire. He's been very impressive this year and in all of his starts. He's 9 for 11 in the money at 6 furlongs. He has 11 lifetime wins, only of 19 runs, just shy of $500,000 in earnings for a horse that's basically racing at Remington Park, Oaklawn Park, Lone Star. He's not running for big purses, but he consistently hits the board. He has 7 wins at 6 furlongs. $418,000 of his $476,000 in earnings have come at this distance. Definitely a play, and he will run if this is a wet to wet fast dirt. He can romp in the slop. I definitely will use him. He is my key to the superfecta and to the pick 6. I think he is a win contender. Is he my top selection in this race? No, but he's a win contender, and I'm going to be using him in my pick 6. If he wins, big price, and that pick 6 definitely at least triples. He hasn't finished out of the money since September 2014. He is just a very consistent runner, and he's been prepping for this race since June. Another horse to look at is Big Mocker. Big Mocker, a very strong finisher. He's looked ultra impressive in the mornings. Definitely a horse to use. Last time out was just a prep for this race, a way to get a race in, coming off of the Maidan trip. It was a good 5th in the Dubai Golden Shaheen to Secret Circle, Rich Tapestry, 2 stellar sprinters. Big Mocker now, this is his race. This is really his true 2015 race. The Palo Verde race wasn't truly a race for him. He just had a tough pace early. Last time out, though, he went back to where he wants to be, a little bit more off the pace, about a length and a half, and just come up and sweep over everyone. A very impressive win in the Pirates Bounty at Del Mar. Big Mocker is definitely a horse to use. Last year, he just broke slow, seemingly like how Run Happy breaks slow, and just didn't have the ability to recover in the sprint, but I think he's going to recover well. Big Mocker, a big play here. My one concern is he works performs the best at 7 furlongs. It's a 6 furlong race. But I think he'll be able to close, at least get in the money, even though he won't have that extra furlong to work. But he is 4 for 8 winning at 6 furlongs, so it's not like he's not able to win here. Just a different type of horse at 7 furlongs than he is at 6 furlongs. He loves having that extra furlong. And then Private Zone, the morning line favorite, ultra impressive. One of the best sprinters in the nation. Just an easy win in the Forego, easy win in the Belmont Sprint Championships. Definitely a horse to use. He was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. He did miss the break, was chasing, was 3 wide. Just wasn't the best of trips last year's Breeders' Cup Sprint, and so he didn't get the chance, a fair chance to win here. I think he finally gets that chance. I'm going to be using Private Zone. Private Zone just improving every single race this year, and is just one of the best sprinters and races consistently against the best horses in the sprint division and in other divisions. A very strong 3rd place effort in the Met Mile against Honor Code and Tonalist. Another horse that just absolutely performs fantastically. My one thing is he's also a horse that performs best at 7 furlongs. I'm sorry. There was a typo on my slide. He performs best at 6 furlongs, and he's 9 for 10 in the money at 6 furlongs. Just typo. He did break slow last year. He's been improving, and he has yet to show his best running this year. He really wasn't full out in the Forego. He didn't show up completely in the Belmont Sprint Championship. It seems as if they were just holding him back, waiting for this race. I think this time he will be explosive. Now, this is his first time all year racing at 6 furlongs. He hasn't done this since the sprint. But again, he is 9 for 10 in the money at 6 furlongs. So just definitely use Private Zone, my top pick. I'm going to use Ivan Volodov a lot right below him. Big Mocker. And I'm going to use Masochistic for Ron Ellis. A strong sprinter. I'm going to scratch last race out. I just didn't think he was able to do it with a very, very strong pace tool up front. I think he's going to be a little bit off the pace this time. He'll be able to come up, hopefully snag a little bit of that money. But those are my top 4 in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And finally, 3rd of these races, the 6th Breeders' Cup race, and the start of the pick 4, which I will cover, as well as the pick 6 in the final video. But the Breeders' Cup Mile is a start-study cast, one of the races that I was most looking forward to here. We have the return of last year's winner, Caraconti, a spectacular filly for Ajay Fab and Esoteric. Shawish comes back against Frankie Dettori for Todd Pletcher. Time Test, Ryan Moore all the way on the outside. Even Impassable, very strong runner. The Woodbine Mile winner, Mondelist. And even the filly Tepin decides to go here instead of the filly and mare turf. Interesting choice. Grand Arch, a winner last time out in Keeneland here. A very interesting field. A lot of horses in this race seem to be able to win, but at the same time, there's a lot of horses in here that just are a step below what will take to win, and many of them are the U.S.-based runners. There's a few horses that I thought you could scratch out. Recepta, just a cut below this field. Tourist, maybe if he's lucky, but very lightly raced this year. Just don't think he's cut out to win a race of this caliber. I also saw that Mashawish, as impressive as he was in Dubai, finishing 3rd to Solo, don't think he's raced heavily enough this year to really be a contender. I do like that he is getting Frankie Dettori, but I just don't think he's a contender here. And even last year's winner, Caraconti, while last year his form was a little lacking coming into the race, he at least had one really good mile win. This year, 2 straight miles and 2 straight mile defeats, one at the hands of Esoteric. Just don't think that we're going to see a repeat, and it's very difficult to repeat in the Breeders' Cup Mile. You can tell the 12-1 morning line, and a lot of people don't think that Caraconti is going to be able to repeat in what was a stunning upset last year. Does return to Lasix. Did get Lasix last year. Does get Lasix this year, but does put on 3 pounds compared to the Breeders' Cup Mile last year. My first horse to focus on is going to be Grand Arch. Joined the rail for the second consecutive year in the Breeders' Cup Mile. Last year in the Breeders' Cup Mile, a very slow start and just was completely flat and pulled out. Never really had a chance. This year been very impressive in the last 2 races, but pretty lucky. But he loves Keeneland. He is 6 for 6 in the money at Keeneland. And he's one of the best U.S. horses in this race. And he's had strong buyer figures in this race coming into it. A 102 and a career high 103 last time out here at Keeneland. If the ground does have a little given in it, I think he'll perform fine. I think Grand Arch is definitely a play here. And then drawing a couple posts to his outside. Make Believe, a very strong finisher. The winner of the Prix de la Forêt last time out at Longchamp, beating 2 very competitive horses in Lamato and Tormore 2 times ago. Faced off against Glen Eagles at Royal Ascot. Just didn't have a chance there. Completely lost the race down the stretch there at Ascot. But a strong horse. The Poule de Paulain is the same race that Caraconti won last year. And the horse that he Make Believe beat, Nube. Nube came back last time out to finish a very solid 3rd in the Arc de Triomphe behind Golden Horn. I Make Believe is a very tough miler. He's going to appreciate the return to a mile. Last time was just 7 furlongs, a very easy win. Going to appreciate that the return to the mile, I think, is a good use here. I'm also going to look at Tepin. Tepin is a horse I've been very high on this whole entire year. One of the best fillies this whole entire year in a pretty hard division to find a top filly with the injury of Lady Eli. The turf division just didn't really have anyone. But Tepin, very strong filly. Super impressive first lady. Even faster than the Shadwell Turf Mile that was raced just a few races later at Keeneland in early October. Tepin, a definite must use. My one concern is that this is her first time in open company, although this race is usually very kind to females. I'm going to give Tepin a shot here. She's been improving throughout her races. Definitely a horse worth a play here. Last time out was just a complete romp. 108 buyer, 7 length victory. I think she'll really love Keeneland once again. And then Esoterique is my key to the pick 4. A very sharp horse, won the Sun Chariot last time out, beating a strong horse in Integral. Finished just 1 length behind Solo, probably the best miler in the world, in the Queen Anne at Royal Ascot. Esoterique is getting a weight break compared to carrying 129, 127, going back to a 123. That was the same weight that she carried in the Queen Anne. Definitely think she's worth a shot. Much improved over last year's races. Esoterique, a strong filly, and she's going to enjoy the firm turf that she's going to get here. She has Dancing Brave on the dam side. Dancing Brave enjoyed firm turf. He was a strong horse in the Prix de Triomphe back when he raced. I definitely think Esoterique is a play. Esoterique is my top pick in this race. I'm coming off a very strong, improving victory. So I'm using Esoterique. I'm also going to use the horse all the way to the outside. Time Test. Time Test just improving. Gets Ryan Moore. If you look at that Juddmonte International Stakes, good 4th. A very good 4th. By 4 3/4 lengths behind Arabian Queen and Golden Horn and Grey Gatsby. I think this colt is definitely improving. Definitely one to use. I'm going to put the filly Tepin in my 3rd spot, and then include Make Believe as my 4th horse here in the Breeders' Cup Mile. So thank you for listening to the Breeders' Cup 2015 Saturday Card Preview Part 2 presented by Horse Racing Station. Part 3 should be out sometime on Thursday. And then also on the blog, you'll see selections for every race written out in a nice formatted article, as well as some suggested plays, pick fours, pick sixes, some superfectas that I definitely think are worth playing, especially in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Should be a fun time. So tomorrow, check out part 3. Don't forget, if you didn't get a chance to watch part 1, that is up there as well as the Friday card preview, detailing the 4 races that are on Friday, headlined by the Breeders' Cup Distaff.